Hello, aspiring developer. So, if you have followed the template I provided, watched the video previously about how to find the right software, no-code software, to solve your problem, then you have defined the problem, solution, and result that you're looking for. You have also then taken a look at the model view controller and each of those buckets, went through the qualifying questions to determine, okay, what do I need in each of these buckets, and how does that eliminate the softwares that are available to me, and which ones I'll likely go for. Now, it's possible that you've gone through all of that, and that you'll get to the end of that road and say, okay, now I'm looking at two different competitors that are highly similar, and I just don't know which one to choose. And that's what this section is all about. It's locking in that software stack for your solution. And there are three different things that I personally look at when I'm trying to determine, okay, I've boiled it down to option A or option B, right? Option A, option B, but they're so similar, I just don't know which one to go with. And the first thing I would say is just skill. Have you already worked in one of these platforms? I feel like this one is pretty obvious, but common knowledge is not always common practice. I have definitely been like, I'm going to go with option B because it sounds like more fun, even though I've used option A for the past year. You know, sometimes you just got to go on that adventure, right? But you got to take this into account, right? The skill. If you've already used one of them and you're familiar with one of them, go with that one. Enough said, right? Like that's the first criteria that I would take into account. And it's funny how often developers like myself just kind of disregard this one entirely. And I find that hilarious. So don't disregard it. Take into account the skill that you have when working between these two. The second thing I'm going to say is integrations. I talked about this a little bit on the previous video, but every single no-code software is going to have integrations with other softwares. They partner up to fill up the buckets, right? I put this in the previous thing, so they partner up to fill up these different buckets. So the model, if the software doesn't handle data, then they're going to partner up with someone so that it can handle the data. If it doesn't have a controller for API endpoints, they're going to partner up with someone who does that. If it doesn't have a front end, they're going to partner with someone who does that, right? All these no-code tools are creating integrations with each other, and they'll publicize those integrations so that you can limit the number of choices and choose the appropriate software for your problem. So looking at these integrations is going to say, all right, if I'm using Flutterflow as my front end, and option A is integrated heavily into Flutterflow, then use option A. Quick story on this, actually. I was building RoastMe with my brother, and at the time it wasn't super integrated. Like, we were using Flutterflow to build the app, right? And at the time it wasn't super integrated into Supabase. Like, it was possible to build it. It was possible to build our database, our login, our authentication through Supabase, but the integration was not fully fleshed out at the time of building it. And I was looking at this, I was like, you know, I could take the extra 4 to 6 hours maybe to try and figure all this out, or I could click this button and turn on Firebase and everything would work. Which one do you think I went with? Right? Obviously, I took the 4 to 6 hours. No, I clicked the button, right? I clicked the button and I turned on the feature that I needed that let me solve my problem. Because option A, Firebase, was more heavily integrated into Flutterflow at the time than option B, Supabase. And so it was just far easier to go with option A, and it still solved all of my problems. So look at the integrations that are available to you, and don't try to complicate things. If option A is supported, out of the box, just go with option A. Don't try to make it hard. Just common knowledge, not always common practice. Third, loyalty. This is kind of like if you've worked with an application, or if you know someone who has worked with that software and they support it, right? I have personally met the founders of SmartSuite, Tara and John. They are fetching amazing. Tara gave me cookies. She's basically won me for life at that point. Cookies are like the pathway to my heart and also the bane of my existence. I just love them too much. So when my wife makes them, I actually have her hide them from me so that I can't eat all of them in one night. I have to have like 1 or 2 per day max. So loyalty is a big thing. And I would say loyalty was a big reason for me saying, I'm going to go with Smart Suite. Not only is Smart Suite just an awesome piece of software, but I am intensely loyal to John and Tara because they are amazing humans. And I would say that this piece should also not be overlooked, because if you know the individuals who are running the show and you have that interaction with them and that ability to build a relationship with them, and it just opens up so many doors. Not only can you help them improve the software, but they can potentially drive work to you. You can help them, you can give feedback to them and shape the direction that the software goes in. So while option A might not start off as the best solution, it can become the best solution because of the influence that you have within the community. So these are the 3 buckets that I look at. If I've gone through the entire process, I've gotten down to the bottom, I'm looking at 2 different softwares and their competitors, and I just don't know which one to choose, right? It could be, it's like Smart Suite or Airtables. I'm like, Smart Suite, all the way. I am 100% loyal to them. They have the integrations I need. I'm building up my skill with them. They're awesome. Zapier or Make. I've used Zapier far more than Make. So skill-based, I will generally choose Zapier over Make. But there have definitely been times where Zapier didn't have the integrations I needed, and so I decided to build the automation using Make. Right? So each of these are the 3 buckets that I use once I've gotten down to the point of, okay, I know it's between option A and option B, and I need to make a decision now in order to move forward and actually solve my problem. I really hope that these 3 parts help you determine your software stack. At the end of this, you should have a design document that gives you a very clear vision of what you are trying to accomplish, the results you're trying to create, the problem you're solving, the dream that you are building. And with that design document, you can rule the world. Aspiring developer. You can start to build your software. That vision that you have with that design document is incredible. And you can immediately take it, and now that you know your software stack, you can sign up for all those different softwares, and you can start to build with them and actually create the result, the dream that you are looking for. So, thank you so much for joining me here. I believe I'll have one more video on design documents tomorrow, just giving you an overarching view and a way to approach them so that you don't feel like they're constricting, that they make you feel stuck. Because they shouldn't make you feel stuck. I want you to feel like it's playful, that you're playing this, right? I really do want you to feel that as you're designing all of this out, that it's just another form of play, that it's a way to express yourself, and that it's constructive, and that it creates the outcome that you're looking for. And this is the first step, and it's skipped by so many. It's just building this design document so you know where you're going, you know where you are, you know where the path you're going to take, and you know where you're trying to get. And you're beginning with that end in mind so that you can actually create the dream and bring it to fruition. Because there are many times in my own personal life where I haven't achieved the dream because I didn't make it clear enough. I didn't define how I was going to get there. And I don't want that to happen to you, my aspiring developer friend. And so please create your design document, work on it, refer back to it consistently, and ultimately create the dream.